So I finally got around to watching the newest episode from My Hero Academia, specifically episode 60, which is what we're talking about today. And honestly, not a whole lot happened. It was more of a setup kind of thing, especially with what happened at the end of the episode, which we'll get to in a little bit. But nothing really happened. It just the beginning of the episode continues where we left off last week, which was a cliffhanger. And basically, it was the end of the provisional licensing exams, and they came up with the whole like screen, like billboard kind of thing, showing that all the people who passed. And long story short, everybody passed from our main cast of characters, besides two important people and that one guy from Shiketsu High School. I forgot his name, but these are like the three like kind of obvious characters that you would expect would have passed, but they didn't pass. And that's Todoroki, the guy from Shiketsu High School, and Bakugo. Those three characters didn't pass in the beginning of the episode after they did their opening, and part of me was a little bit surprised, but at the same time, with what happened during the provisional licensing exams, I understand why they didn't pass. But by the end of the scene, before we get into like the middle like half of the episode, they explained that in the next 3 months, in like April, they're gonna be able to take a 3 month long like program or like exam where they can still have another chance of actually being able to get the provisional licensing exams. But for everybody who did pass, some of them just barely, but some of them exponentially. Like Momo, she did a really good fucking job somehow. I don't really get it, but she did. But everybody that did pass the provisional licensing exams, they are now able to do some sort of hero work. Not like the type of stuff that you do as a pro, but similar stuff that you can do as a pro. Like, let's say there's a villain like attacking like a group of people in like a store or something. Like, yeah, you can go ahead and like do what you need to do and get rid of them. If someone's like trapped in a burning building, you can go inside and try to help them. You can do some basic hero work, but not something like on top of like something like the all for one fight with you can't really do anything like probably substantial like that. That's a little over the top. They just got their licensing exams. So by the end of the scene, of course, Deku has to fucking show All Might, and All Might does see it in a later scene. I just thought it was pretty funny. But at the very last part of the scene, this is one of the parts that I honestly was surprised about, but really shouldn't have been. So Deku gets, he sends a picture of his provisional licensing exam, which I'm looking at the picture right now that he has on his licensing exam thing. It's actually really fucking hilarious for some reason. But he goes to one of the Shiketsu high school like students, right? I don't know what his name is. I just didn't pay attention, I guess. But Deku asks where Cammy is. And he's like, Deku didn't really know what her name was, so he's just saying like, oh, the girl with the big lips. Finally, the guy realizes who he's talking about, and he said that she didn't feel well, and she actually had already left before everybody else. And spoiler warning, Cammy turned out to be Himiko Toga, and because in the scene at the final part of the scene before we get into a conversation with All Might and All for One, Cammy turns into Himiko Toga, and then obviously the narrator explains what her quirk is, and it's transformation, or it's transform. Whereas she injects in someone's blood, she can transform into anybody, by having, basically their blood. And it kind of makes me question who, this actual like person she disguised herself is. Who is this person? Like, obviously she had to be able to transform into somebody, but I'm not sure if she can just like transform into this like on will without disguising herself as someone else from a different person, or if this is like a previous person she's disguised herself before as. It's kind of confusing. I don't really get it. But something I didn't realize until after I finished watching the episode and I was watching the credits, I was thinking to myself, okay, now we know that Cammy is, Himiko, right? But how did she transform into Uraka during the provisional licensing exams when she was about to, attack Deku from behind, right? And I was like, oh wait, right. She got Uraka's blood from the forest, like from the beginning of the season. She got her blood, and that's how she was able to disguise herself as Uraka. I completely forgot about that, and I didn't remember it until after I finished watching the episode, and I was like, oh, that's a nice attention to detail, I guess. It kind of fully comes full circle with why she still had her blood and what she was going to do with it anyways. She probably had a different thing that she was going to do with it, but she did something with it. So next we go to a special prison for villain criminals. It's a big giant fucking prison, and specifically All For One is there, who's underground under max security, and All Might's talking to him, and this takes up a majority of the rest of the episode, besides like the very end of it. And basically, it's just All For One and All Might talking about how similar they are to each other, or rather, All For One is saying that All Might's pretty similar to him, and how All For One wants the world to be as, and people are freaking out because All Might's not the number one hero, and endeavors this, that, and the other, and their predecessors, meaning who's gonna have to take their powers, because All Might already chose, Midoriya, right? He already has a predecessor, or what's the proper word I'm looking for? I don't know. I'm blanking on words right now, but All For One, he's basically gonna. I don't really know. I'm kind of confused with what All For One actually has, planned, and that's kind of like the whole reason why All Might was there in the first place. He wants to know what he's actually trying to do. What's his plan? What is he doing? And et cetera, et cetera. And the conversation kind of just doesn't really go anywhere, and it kind of goes at a pace where I'm just like, I feel like this could have been done a lot quicker, but maybe there's a lot of more exposition that they're trying to do and more foreshadowing that I didn't pay attention to yet. So I might have to rewatch the episode and listen and read what they're talking about, because I just wasn't paying attention, I guess. So All Might leaves. He gets the message from Midoriya, and he sees that he passed the licensing exams, and he's pretty happy about it. But the end of the episode ends with Bakugo telling Midoriya Deku that he wants to talk about his quirk. And the episode ends with a flashback to them outside, to them at one of the training ground areas that's in UA, and that's where they start talking. And Bakugo is putting everything together. He starts putting everything together, and he finally realizes that Deku's quirk, or his power, was passed down. He already knew that, but he kind of thought it was bullshit to begin with. That was back in season 1. And then he finally realized that Deku's power, or his quirk, is the same as All Might's, and it was passed down from All Might to Deku. And how everything all conveniently just kind of happened together. Like, All Might lost his power, All Might and All For One seemed to know each other for some reason. All For One was able to take people's quirks and give it to somebody else. Like with one of the Pussycat girls or whatever, right? She lost her quirk, and now she can't do any pro hero work anymore because she lost her quirk. That's because All For One took it from her, and he can just give it to somebody else. And it kind of seems like Bakugo is kind of just jealous with Deku because, sorry, that's something in my mouth. All Might was someone that Deku and Bakugo admired more than anyone else in the world. And he found it ironic that the person that they both admired the most acknowledged Deku out of anybody else in the entirety of their class. And the episode pretty much starts to end, and starts getting towards the end, to the credits, and Bakugo wants to fight Deku. And the previews show that they're obviously going to fight, but I'm interested in what else is going to happen in the episode, who's going to show up in the episode, if anybody's going to jump in and stop the fight before it gets to the point where they're about to fucking kill each other. I'm interested as to see what this fight's going to go to. But anyways, that pretty much ends the video, or the episode along with the video, I guess. So anyways, if you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like. If you are new, please be sure to subscribe for more videos just like this. The video was kind of all over the place. I understand that. I need to get a couple other videos out. I just posted a review for Marvel Spider-Man for the PlayStation 4. If you haven't watched that video, go ahead and watch it. It's a really long video, but if you have time to go ahead and watch it, even though it is kind of all over the place as well. But regardless, if you did enjoy, leave a like. If you are new, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a fantastic day. I'm out. Peace.